Is it going to be like sunny?
Man, we just had to start it off with that question, huh? I just stopped thinking about it, and you had to ask me. It's my oldest son, man. I love the guy to death, but on Sunday we're gonna have to get him. We're gonna have to get him on Sunday. I love him to death. Like I said, 2 days ago was extremely sad day for everybody, and then yesterday was just super weird. And the thing that everybody says is that's just the business, So you just got to go with it and just keep moving. Life goes on, and for DT, I'm happy. I'm happy for him. He's going to a team that loves him and will appreciate him, and that really need a receiver like him. So he's in Houston, and Denver is amazing. I love everything about Denver, but Houston is certainly a switch up from Denver, and he's there. So I'm happy for him. I'm extremely happy for him.
Everybody does say it's the business, and you got to keep it business. But how tough is that?
It's tough, man. DT and Chris Harris, they've been. I've played in the same team with those guys longer than I've played with anybody else. And you think about some of the relationships you build in college with guys that you've only played with 3 and 4, maybe even 2 years, and you're still connected to these guys. And you talk about DT and Chris Harris. I've been on the same exact team with these guys through the ups and the downs, on and off the field. I've seen Chris with no kids and no wife, and now he has a wife and 3 kids, So Demaryius is, not moving like that. But, just to explain it, I've seen these 2 guys grow up, and likewise. So whenever, a decision is made like that, it's for me it's hard to look at it. I'm not the guy for it. I'm not the guy that's making the decisions for the right reasons. If I have it my way, sure, we still have Peyton Manning here throwing passes. So, it's just So it's just part of the business.
Sometimes it is a brotherhood, though. Mm-hmm. I mean, not with every guy that's here maybe for 6 months.
Yeah. But the DT and Chris Harris, and even Derek Wolfe. I've played with these guys longer than anybody I played with in college times 2. So it's definitely going to be a strong relationship and a strong brotherhood with those guys.
What signal does it send, though, when you trade a guy to deadline, your sellers? Do you still, as veterans, believe you can be contenders and get in the playoffs when you see one of your all-time greats go?
Yeah, man, it's tough. Now I got to put my GM hat on. You got to think about it. I got to think, what would Mr. Elway say right now? And if you look at our team, we got great young talent at receiver. I got to really get out of, DT's my friend and my brother. I got to get out of that window for a second and just look at it from, Elway's position. We got great young talent at the receiver position. It hasn't always been like that, but we do. We got Cortland Sutton, Deshaun. Tim Patrick is turning on for us. We all know what Emmanuel can do for us. So we got great talent, and of course on the financial side it saves a ton. But now back to Von. I'm extremely sad about the decision.
On Bradley Chubb, named Defensive Rookie of the Month, where have you seen him grow the most?
Honestly, how you see one of these you see one of these toddlers and they maybe 3 years old, but they have they act like grown men, and they talk like grown men. They have these extreme personalities and they're leaders even at 3 years old. That's the same thing with Bradley Chubb. He's a kid and he's a baby and whatever you want to call him, but the guy was a leader. The guy was a captain at NC State, and he's definitely brought those same leadership qualities here to the Broncos. When you talk to him, just like with Josie Jewell and all the other mature rookies that we have, when you talk to him, it's not really you're talking to a rookie. He understands the language. He may not be able to talk back and speak to you in the same language, but he definitely understands it. And he's definitely a quick learner, fast learner, mature beyond his ages. I just think back to the Von I was in 2011. I'm just totally different than what Bradley Chubb is for us today. So I'm extremely excited. I'm extremely excited about where he's at with his career and the hot start that he's had in his career. When we started the season off, it was a couple of weeks where he didn't have any sacks, and I got in front of you guys and I told him that he's been playing great. The sacks haven't just been coming; they just haven't been coming. So for him to get defensive defensive rookie of the month is huge. You know, it's not too many rookies out there that's playing like him. You know, he's got 2 more months, and defensive rookie of the year is in the bag for him.
I've never seen one of those toddlers you were talking about.
You never seen one of those toddlers? You gotta get on Instagram, man. Instagram, they got all types of stuff on there.
We've seen you in the best of times and the worst of times with football, and you're basically the same guy all the way through. I appreciate that, but is a team more irritable at 3-5 than 7-1?
I mean, yeah, you 71. If I'm happy right here and 3-5, we have to be doing interviews from the helicopter or something. If I was, 7-1, I've learned to be consistent through the great examples that I've had, over time here. From, I say these guys all the time, from Tim Tebow to Peyton Manning and all the leaders in between. I've definitely had great examples on how to be consistent no matter what, situation that we are in. And we're in a tough patch right now, but we've had great times. And you can look at our organization, look at our coaches and our players and our fans, and that's a clear indicator that the tough times are not going to last too long. We'll get out of this spell.
In 2011, when you were building your Rookie of the Year case, were you aware of what other guys were doing? Patrick Peterson, J.J. Watt, those guys?
I was aware of what Alden Smith was doing, yeah. But no, none of those other guys. I don't think J.J. Watt he wasn't even wearing the arm sleeve yet. So he wasn't even wearing like the elbow brace yet. So J.J. Watt, he hadn't turned on yet. And so I was watching Alden Smith and the way he played. He had 14 sacks his rookie season, and the record is 14.5. So he was at half sack off. So whenever you got guys like that y'all play the same position, y'all play alike, y'all impact the stat book the same. You're gonna pay attention to those guys a lot, and I definitely paid attention to Alden Smith.
Do you remind Bradley of that? Because Curse's record, and he's clearly on pace for it.
You know what? The funny thing is, before we even started the season off, we talked about all of this stuff. We went through all
Usually you don't talk numbers. That's why.
We talked numbers back in whenever he got here, whenever he was drafted. I told you he sit right by me. Yeah, so it's I don't like really talking about type of stuff that we talk about to you guys especially, but in that case, yeah, I told him to write his goals out. Write his goals out on a piece of paper, write it every day, type right-hand corner, and that was definitely one of the goals that he had on there. The sack record, win defensive rookie of the year. He even had goals 5 years down the road, and a guy with that type of mentality and that work ethic, he'll definitely get all the goals that he wrote on his paper.
Okay.
Thank you guys.
Thank you.